Contractor, no. I will not bow to any sponsor.
So, what is branding, I hear you ask? When an animal is branded, a mark is burned on its skin to show who owns it. We like to brand ourselves, it's a fact. We like to be known as the person who wears Fred Perry and looks like a model, so and so. There's no escaping it unless you want to move to the Amazon somewhere and cover up your dignity with cocoa beans and, I don't know, banana leaves. We're all part of branding, and we like to brand ourselves into these kind of little cliques. It's kind of human nature to feel a part of something.
JV jocks, Asian nerds, cool Asians, varsity jocks, unfriendly black hotties, girls who eat their feelings, girls who don't eat anything, desperate wannabes, burnouts, sexually active band geeks, the greatest people you will ever meet, and the worst. Beware of the plastics.
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the beast doesn't include selling out.
Initially, with the Industrial Revolution, the durability of products was the most important thing. For example, Thomas Edison and the light bulb, which lasted 1,500 hours. That's amazing. Like the current day, you can just flick a light bulb on and off and it just goes bust. Goods were produced cheaply and quickly. With the rise of machinery and factories, things were just ploughing out. Because of the attractive prices, people were just buying things for the sake of it. You know, just before the credit crunch where you could go on holiday and stuff and buy brand new trainers every week or cut your toenails with diamond toenail cutters and wear caviar in your gloves. Or just buy the latest shitty Vampire Saga for your home viewing pleasure. The economy was booming, but even so, consumers couldn't keep up with the amount of products coming out of factories here, there and everywhere, every month. But everything came to a halt due to the Wall Street crash in 1929.
That sense of there is no limit, and that all this expansion, this success, this elan, we're not really going to have to pay for it. Now, of course, that didn't turn out to be true. You could see the crash. Why do you think they called it the crash? I mean, it's really an airborne collapse metaphor. You can't crash if you never left the ground.
With the recession, unemployment was high and people didn't need new products anymore. Instead, they needed jobs and food. New York had a proposal on how to kickstart the economy again. Bernard London proposed planned obsolescence to produce products with a set expiry date. Consumers then throw away the broken products and buy the next model. The aim is that there will always be a gap in the market for new goods, and therefore always be a need for people to make these goods, thus creating jobs for the people. Bernard wanted to make planned obsolescence compulsory, but the idea was ignored. New ideas to save the economy were put on pause due to a small thing called the Second World War. Nice little rhyme.
Planned obsolescence. the desire on the part of a consumer to own something a little newer, a little better, a little sooner than is necessary.
At the end of the war, in the 1950s, the idea of planned obsolescence resurfaced, but at this time with a twist. Instead of making it compulsory and forcing consumers to buy, consumers were then to be seduced by it. Products had to be therefore visually and aesthetically pleasing. Design and marketing jobs were created to all people and convince consumers that they were always needed the latest and shiniest models. (1980s). These powerful manufacturers began to falter. The corporations were bloated. They owned too much, too many employees, too many tasks. Their growth was becoming a liability.
One taste of new sugar-free Jell-O gelatin, and you're gonna
give in to the taste.
There were, therefore, new kinds of corporations that developed, where producing goods was only a small incidental part of their operations.
Basketball shoes.
Producing images of their brand was the prime concern. And with the arrival of the trade liberalisation, companies were allowed to have their products made abroad, with most being made in the third world countries.
You're looking sharp. You're looking good. You've come so far.
The real work of the companies was now the marketing instead of the manufacturing. In a nutshell, whoever owns the less employees on the payroll and produces the most powerful images as opposed to products wins.
It's what we've always done to let the best of man forget. On so many faces, it's plain to see. We give you all we have to give for all a man can be. Where the race is run, you're the champion. So beautiful.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
Nothing much has changed. The mass consumption era of the 50s, i.e. the desire to buy the newest products and dispose of the old, is a foundation of today's consumer society. Along with the credit equation, consuming things with credit is borrowing money to buy things we don't actually need.
On average, I could spend maybe €200 a week just purely on clothes, really. Absolute bargain.
Then at 10, my dad sold his company, and that's when, you know, I started getting pretty much everything I wanted. So I'd go shopping and my dad would be like, yes, yes, yes. And even before that, when we didn't have money, my dad would put it on his credit cards to make me happy. I think probably because he felt guilty because of divorce. I don't know what it was, but I just remember getting everything I ever wanted. And I'm like, can I have that or that? And my dad's like, you can have both. And I was like, yay! And it made me happy.
That's a child to be proud of. There are still examples of planned obsolescence today. Nylon tights used to be made to last. They were once so stable that you could use them to tow a car. Nowadays, women go through dozens of pairs in a lifetime.
Well, some more than others.
Hey, lip them. What?
Lip them, like this. Lip them.
Rip them?
Lip, yes.
You want me to rip your stockings?
Yes, rip my stockings, please.
Rip your stockings?
Yes,
you want me to rip your stockings?
please.
Apple originally did not intend to offer any battery exchange services for their iPods, iPhones, or iPads. The only choice that consumers had if their battery was faulty was to buy a brand new device. Which is bullshit.
Might as well go get a new one. Apple doesn't offer No. Apple doesn't offer a new battery for the iPod? No.
The thing that really bothers me personally is that Apple really promotes itself as a young, hip, forward-thinking company, and for a company like that not to have a good environmental policy that allows consumers to return products for proper recycling and disposal, it's really counterintuitive and counter to their message.
The sad thing is, the waste of decades of disposing of old products in exchange for newer ones now shows. Even though the big corporations try their best to hide this, the faulty devices are shipped to third world countries used as dumping grounds. This, technically, is illegal, but merchandisers trick this law by declaring the waste as a second-hand goods. 80% of the waste from first world countries dumped in Ghana is beyond repair.
There's no point in receiving electronic waste when you cannot deal with it, more so when you did not produce it and your country is being used as the world's trash bin.
Adverts encouraging us to consume more are basically taking over our lives. They encourage subliminal messages by using hip and catchy theme songs or new music.
And I can't get the words out. I wanna be with you everywhere.
The rice tastes nice and creamy with fruit that's light and dreamy. Rice, rice, baby. Oh.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Adverts now use all kinds of celebrities to endorse their products. They think consumers will watch these celebrities and feel like, if I had that certain kind of product, I will be as beautiful and as successful and as happy as that celebrity. I think we all know it's flawed. I mean, for example, if I put on a brand of Kate Moss's lipstick, I doubt I look like a supermodel.
Booyah.
Some adverts actually claim to do things they don't actually do, with careful wording during the adverts. For example, helping and appear and fight. I mean, you can fight a wall, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you would win.
Following 10 years of advanced research on
Could try.
Vichy introduces new Lift Active. With Lift Active moisturiser from Vichy, wrinkles appear reduced and skin feels firmer.
I think you can glow from within, and I think certainly the serum just sort of like help. It makes me feel good.
It plumps up the skin and wrinkles appear pushed up like this.
Today, this advert for an anti-aging cream has been banned by the Advertising Standards Authority for being misleading because Twiggy had her wrinkles removed by a computer.
As for fast food chains, what's the point of advertising on how unhealthy the food is? You're not going to sell anything that way, are you? So they sell it to consumers by saying what a great experience it is to eat at McDonald's, or use hip and up-and-coming music to entice consumers in. I mean, do you really have a great family experience at KFC? Naughty's adverts are the worst. Due to the invention of like Sky Plus and smartphones, it's getting harder and harder for advertisers to capture the audience's attention.
Upside down,
So they use really weird and crazy adverts.
What can you do?
I mean, people aren't paying attention, it's just flicking through their phone at porn and videos of cats on YouTube.
18.
On a lighter note, there has been an explosion of brand-based investigative activism.
It doesn't take us long. These women are sewing sequins on a Primark vest in what looks like a kitchen.
So how much do they get paid per piece? Can we ask them?
Campaigners investigate products to see how and where they are produced. Some have tours of the workers creating the products, which are in most cases impoverished countries.
It works out at 52 pence per day for each woman. That's just over half the legal minimum wage in this part of India.
From the outside, the pretty exterior, it hides away the seedy underworld of how these products are actually produced.
早上是从6点半开始上班，到晚上的12点，12点以后有的加通宵，有的加到2点、4点。去都是什么玩具呢？去的都是迪士尼的狗仔啊，还有公仔。
Fatigue and boredom are common in any factory, but this one is surrounded by suicide nets. They are everywhere. A horrifying reminder of 18 workers who jumped from the buildings here at Foxconn City in the past few years.
They've had, if you count the attempted suicides, 13 so far this year. And while that is still, they have 400,000 people at this place. So 13 out of 400,000 is 26 per year so far for 400,000 people, or let's say 7 per 100,000 people. That's still under the U.S. suicide rate of 11 per 100,000 people, but it's really troubling. So I think there's some real issues there.
And you all are bringing in psychiatrists or any?
We're trying to understand right now.
Okay.
Before we go in and say we know the solution, we need to understand what the problem is.
So you have teams, but what kind of folks do you send over there? I mean, they have to be some kind of social workers, or what do you send over there to find out, or just lawyers, or what?
No, not lawyers.
Not lawyers? No? Okay.
We send over, first of all, our own people that have been going over there for a long time and are very familiar with them. And second, we've hired some outside folks as well.
Okay.
Okay. Activism, therefore, is trying to bring these two worlds together so we, the first world consumers, can get a perspective on how these products are made, which is wrong at the moment, very wrong.
I can't talk about it anymore. It's giving me a headache.
Here, take 2 of these.
Ah, new print. Little, yellow, different.
How can we make the right choices and consume ethically? There is no way to change the world through shopping and consuming, even buying ethical products. But we can work as individuals by supporting and being part of an ethical movement. Actions such as protesting, culture jamming, ad busting, billboard liberation, censoring billboards and parodying them can all help.
So they are creating insecurities, and then they're selling you something to fill that insecurity.
Kali Lawson is a culture jammer. From the Vancouver headquarters of the Media Foundation, Lawson and a group of media-savvy activists are creating their own brand of anti-advertising. The group pulls no punches. No corporation is beyond their attack. From McDonald's and the Mitt Grease campaign to a scathing indictment of Calvin Klein's advertising practices, the foundation is attempting to counteract the message to buy.
In a nutshell, it's about having control, having a say in controlling our share of public resources, having the right to control our own destiny. The world is big enough to satisfy everyone's needs, but the world will always be too small to satisfy individual greed. thing is with branding, you have to be in the grey zone. You can't be, without branding, you can't be too much into branding. If you're too much into branding, then you'll end up spending all your money on bullshit. If you're without branding, then you'll be living in the Amazon somewhere, like I said earlier. There's no escaping it. You just need to work out a correct balance with it. We can't all just get into branding so much that it takes over our lives, you know what I mean?
Shaking, mama, I love you. Oh no, yes I do.